Happy Monday, guys. It's another MetaMind Monday. Welcome to another MK Potcast. I'm your host, Michael Kamp. Our beautiful co host, Canna Queen Kara, is making some boss moves and doing some big meetings right now. So we're excited to be expanding at an exponential rate. We thank each and every one of you guys for supporting and being here. By all means, please share this page. We're going to be doing something a little different tonight. We have noticed that the MetaMind Mondays, we think have intimidated some people. So we're gonna kick it down a notch, and we're gonna take a level of content that we have of individuals and doing some showcases for them on Mondays. And we're gonna start having movies on Monday as well. So today we are going to be showing Cannabis versus Climate Change. That was requested by a few people that were not able to catch the video when I did run it at like midnight or something like that. So, uh, cannabis is the point of all this, how we can leverage it, utilize it, and in turn make save our planet, but have a higher quality of life, period. So, holy shit, what munchies? There's your name. Look at that. What is going on? We know it's High Times Munchie, and it's letting it show her name today. So it's a good day. It's a good day. Way to go, Munchies. You made that. You made Facebook your bitch. I'm so glad it can show your day. So what's going on? Hope your day has been blessed and that you got some killer fire. So we throw this video on. Where's Kara? She's in a very important business meeting right now. So she's making boss moves, right? Some of the things that we're networking in. So we've got, I want to say it's a collective about of a dozen people of content creators, builders, individuals in the cannabis and Web3 world. And we're currently collaborating all of the calendars. So possibly here tonight I'll be done with it, but probability tomorrow. I've got a couple more groups I still have to talk with, and we will have an extensive AM and PM broadcasting schedule 7 days a week, multiple platforms from YouTube to Facebook, here at StreamYard, like what me and Canna Queen are doing. A couple other new groups of individuals you may or may not have heard of, and then the platforms on Twitter as well. We're going to have quite a few spaces. So you guys will have the opportunity to leverage what we're doing and then get into whatever you have time for, right? If you're wanting to learn about cannabis aspect and how Web3 is changing what people are doing with it, changing the mindsets of individuals, just interpretation of, what is a legacy play, what's longevity of wealth, how do you maintain these things, what's passive income, just a bunch of different ins and outs in the industry that aren't going anywhere. So we've been doing what we can to onboard and raise awareness for it, and we are now expanding it into a further realm and being able to offer you guys the opportunities to meet these other amazing groups. There's so much brilliance in the world, period. And cannabis is a wonderful thing. It groups us together, allows us to focus on solutions, and helps us deal with the bullshit from those that attack. So, thank you, cannabis. I am currently smoking. This is some Dan McCann. So this is the Ghost Skyhara OG Blueberry Frost. This was the green pheno, and effect-wise, I want to say the green pheno is better for me than the purple pheno that I was able to hunt out. So I only found a couple purples, one that was real extreme, and then I bred into it. I've also bred into the green one for the testing purposes of both sides. After curing, this green Dan McCann is fire. So I know we've got, I think Scott does have a Dan McCann going in Mocana Cup, and we will start having a lot more updates in that and what's going on there. Introduction of the Web3 Cannabis Summit, and start connecting some dots of things that people have been wondering, like what was the point of Mocana Cup? It's much bigger than just a growing competition. So we're able to grow in many ways, not just the plant. But throw this video on here real quick, and then we'll jump in, shoot some shit, and push play on a movie. Learn a little bit about Paul J von Hartmann, Cannabis Sativa L, and its capabilities in the industrial manner, and more so how we can save the planet with it. It's an amazing movie with information-wise. The book is just as good, if not better, because the amount of detail that can be put in it. And then when it's coming to most versed people in the world on the capacities and capabilities of cannabis, I believe that is Paul J von Hartmann. So that's in my opinion. Others may differ, but not too many. Before we shoot the video, Hero Packs, guys, HEROPACKZ. That is your discount code. Fish Shit, MJ Arsenal, Nuke Tools, and Grove Bags. So I will be able to dial in now and get these other sponsors in on their discount codes. And then we will have it's going to be a gated website. But we'll have a website. When I say gated, it takes an NFT to do certain things, but we'll have a basic website set up for these discount codes, access to all their stores from that site, and then there'll also be a gated level in there for some specialty products that are only available to those that have NFTs. So there's a level of exclusivity that's involved at a very minimal cost to have access to some of these amazing other companies and capabilities of like white labeling your own product and certain stuff that the average consumer and average business owner wants but thinks that it may be out of reach. They just don't know and haven't met what we're doing here yet, and that there is a collective of cannabis enthusiasts and activists that are doing everything we can to make a difference in this planet for not just us but our kids and our the generations to come. So here's the video. If you are new to Mocana Cup, the Canna contenders have already been filled. The event's going on now. We're in week 4 of flower. Got some awesome pictures coming up and coming out. These ladies putting on some nice trichomes and nice flowers for us, and we'll get you educated along the way of what else is coming with. We do have some curing aspects that we get to implement in, and lots of fun little ins and outs. So Canna contenders you can't be a Canna contender. You can get registered though still at mocanacup.com, at least for now. The websites on that's all going to be shifting and altering and changing for the Web3 Cannabis Summit, which is also still part of Mocana Cup. It was just a compound level event with many moving parts that are all dominoes are falling, guys. So get ready for some amazing announcements. And this calendar will be real good to get engaged, because not all the CEOs and CMOs and celebrities and authors and things like that, artists that we're wanting to bring in, are available at 8 p.m. Central Standard. Some of them are during the day, other times during the weekend. So we will have a calendar that can accommodate all of these individuals, and then also get you introduced to not just their products, but the events that are going on around the world, around the nation, both physically and virtually. So I know if Munchies was talking about getting a wallet, maybe here Wednesday, if we'll do a little segment. I'll make sure I've got the browser, certain things I need to remove so I can redo it while live, and we'll show you guys how to go get like a MetaMask wallet and these basic, just the basic ends to getting a wallet, how to secure that wallet, and then what to do with it after that. So just offering the calendar itself will provide the inlets and outlets, if you will, for the information to get educated at your own pace. We don't want anyone overwhelmed. By all means, ask any questions. What's up, Andrea? Hello. Welcome. It's 1 minute to 7:10, guys. We hit this video, get our sponsor shout out so we can play Cannabis vs. Climate Change with no interruption. And I'll be right back. Hey there, Cannabis Camp fam. Thanks for joining another episode of MK Potcast. I'm your host, Michael Kamp, and today we are going to be showcasing Jawbreaker. So Jawbreaker is one of the strains that can be grown in Mocana Cup. If you haven't heard about Mocana Cup, it is a digital growing competition. Registration to become a Canna Contender in Mocana Cup closes in 2 weeks. Also, you can find out all kinds of information about it at www.mocanacup.com. And this video is going to, like I said, showcase Jawbreaker, which is one of Honeycomb Hydro LLC's featured genetics, and it is lineage is Fruity Pebble OG. So the music you're going to be listening to is from my man Chills. He's an artist from St. Louis. The song we're going to be listening to is called No Regrets, and you can find him on most of your music platforms and Instagram, all that good stuff. Chills HQ, that's CHILLZ HQ, and you can go listen to some of his other music. I wanted to give a shout out to our great sponsors. None of this would be possible without them. We've got Fish Head Farms. A lot of you know them as Fish Shit. NJ Arsenal, Grove Bags, Newt Tools, A of Africa, Hero Packs, Canna Camp, Suede Soul, Abigail TV, Abigail University, the ABA in general, Kindway Farms, Kindway Consulting. I know you're going to enjoy the music and the footage, so let's get down to it and see what Jawbreaker's all about.
The biggest poison in us is regret.
I blow on the best, I roll on the best. When you roll with us, you roll with the best. We got them like Lord, they calling us blessed. Came up from a slave, I put them chains on my neck. We started the wave, we showed you the way. We opened the gates, we gave you the place. Now on to the next, let's run up a check. If you gonna do it, gotta do it to death. Got my name in the press, now niggas is pressed. I put in the work, oh how they forget. My life was a mess, deserving the flex. Got one life to live, can't live with regrets.
Are you doing the things that are putting you in a position to succeed? Not just in a business world, but in life. Stop complaining. Nobody's listening. They may make pretend they're listening.
Fuck playing it safe, I live life to the fullest. Gon' go out a legend, got the pictures to prove it. Used to trap out the Buick, put that back in the music. Flip it in royalty checks, now we gotta move it. Check my year to date, how much did I make? Take half of the growth, put that in the bank. 3 shows in a month, what was the take? I book them myself, the fuck should I wait? Bitch, get the fuck out my face. Not hearing what you trying to say. Can't kick it, you ain't trying to pay. Not coming, I can't smoke a J. The house used to smell like a barn. Back then we was smoking on hay. Now that we set off alarms, so loud I might catch me a case. Chills.
You're more than welcome to tell me about how bad it is or why you can't, because, or what, but it's just not true.
It's just not true, he said. And you guys know who's talking in the background there? And remove this person talking, doing little things. If you're from the Web3 world and Twitter, high probability you know that voice. But if not, it's okay. That's Gary V. Gary Vaynerchuk. He's involved in a lot of things. And I can't say I agree with all of them. So it is what it is. We all have our own opinions. Sweet, Ryan Snyder, you flipped it to flower. Nice. I'm glad you didn't give up, bro. I know situations can hit, especially when it comes to growing in life in general. And we have two options, right? We can either get through it or we can give up. And I think one of the biggest points in any type of event thing, especially when it comes to an education and learning to do things, that the capacity of it absolutely includes the fuck ups. They're the most important thing. To be able to educate people through your own fuck ups so they don't fuck up, it's quite rewarding. So that's what I try to do, is share the wealth on that. So when you're in these growing competitions and things don't go the best, don't beat yourself up. Share the wealth of that and let others know that they're not alone, because you're not alone in any error that you make in life, period. You're not the only one that's done it. So don't, we're real hard on ourselves, right? Sweet, just made a cloner. A bit skeptical of it working. I'd love to see your designs, right? Throw them up on Mocanica. Let's see what you made. And if you have already, I apologize for not seeing it yet. I'm a little busy. But we are getting all that dialed down calendar wise. Before I shoot the movie here of Cannabis versus Climate Change, I've been working real hard with some AI stuff. So you guys are going to get to experience some amazing. I think it's fucking amazing because I made it, but it took a little bit of work, and what it's producing and the effects that it's had on people has been profound. And we're gonna keep pushing the envelope on it of leveraging tech to create content that is just it's not like anything else. It's so much fun. And we will be getting the attentions of some people. We're keeping it good. So we're going to make the not celebrities proud. So then they can't be too pissed. But AI made it. I just told AI to do some things, and none of it's really the people. Just seems like it, and it is fun. So we do have 3 minutes. Let me know in the comments, man. What are you guys smoking on for this 420? Let me throw this up. Technically, it's 2 minutes and 3 minutes and counting. Yeah, 19. Yeah, 3 minutes and counting, guys, to 420. Put in the comments what you're smoking on and how you're smoking it. You doing a bong of some green crack? You dabbing up some apple fritter? I have a joint of some Dan McCann, which is Ghost Sky Hara OG Blueberry Frost. So very pungent, indica dominant strain, rigorous grower, very resistant on many stressors. Even the one I had outside, it seemed to have a terpene profile that the bugs did not like. It liked the Jack Hare, really liked the Snowrilla, which was the Hungarian landrace. The bugs somewhat liked the Jawbreaker, but not too much. Same with the 74 Elephant. It didn't like, but this Dan McCann, the bugs did not want to go near it at all. So I always like little things like that. I think Munchies is smoking root canal, or she got a root canal. And if you got a root canal, then you might have that cotton gauze shit that you got, and you shouldn't smoke. Or wait, that's when they remove it. You don't want dry socket. I'm just going to say it's the strain. What's the flavor profile of fucking root? Oh, it's your strain. What's the flavor profile? Is this one of the ones that you're talking on things and things are happening and everybody's going to be able to get root canal? Because I like the sounds of it. Ooh, what we got? Ryan Snyder here. We got some grapes and cream, Tropicana cherry. Damn, dude. I gotta come smoke with you. Shit. You're kicking it down, man. All bushy. Fucking bushy. I love it. Ooh, 3 years in the making. Fuck yes. Now that's awesome. Some strawberry poison. Is that what you're smoking on? Or that's what its lineage is, or very, very interested. Uh-oh. I gotta go back to these banners. We're getting close, guys. It's 1 minute and counting. Really, it's just counting. And yeah, I've got a fun little 420 video for you that we will be leveraging and utilizing every 420 that we're live, because, well, you'll see. It's pretty fun. Pretty damn fun. And a lot more coming from it. So if you have any questions on how to do it, shoot. Follow us around in some Twitter spaces. You'll definitely learn about artificial intelligence. It is one of the main topics. Happy 420. But yeah, it is one of the main topics we do discuss in Twitter spaces for being able to do things with AI to make your life easier, especially if you're a content creator, if you do paperwork, if you deal with people. Like it really, there's a capacity that AI could be used to make your life easier right now, guaranteed. What it may be, that could range from so many different things, but business tasks, things like that, oh man, AI is amazing. And like I said, the best place is Twitter. Follow us there. We'll bring some subject matter experts on here, but with them coming in, for the most part, if you don't know a little bit, you may just sit there being a loss. So where is my video? We don't want to overwhelm anybody, but it can get pretty crazy and technical. So happy 420. Thank you for letting me know what you're smoking. I'm a little jealous. Can't wait to grow out some of the stuff you've got, Munchie, and smoke on that myself. Root canal sounds wonderful. If it's someone like you that's been working on it for 3 years, you've been putting some work in. So count me in. Count for sure. But let's go ahead and get this banner out of the way so we don't disrupt the 420 announcement here. And we'll go ahead and play that. And I'm going to see what you guys think about it before we hit the video. Here you go.
Hey y'all, happy 420. It is your favorite artificial assistant here. Hashtag not Snoop. Thank you for joining us in another MK Potcast with your hosts, Queen Carr and Michael Kamp. I want to personally thank you for being here. We know you could be anywhere else, but you are here. Now that's love. I hope you have some of that sticky icky ooey, because it is time again to light up that doobie, rip that bond, or take a dab be-do. Remember that we grow stronger together and that we love to smoke weed every day. Much love, and this public 420 announcement was brought to you by Honeycomb Hydro. Please be advised that the content of the MK Potcast is intended for adults over the age of 21 and is for informational and educational purposes only. The information provided on this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. The opinions and statements expressed on this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of the producers or affiliates of the MK Potcast. The use, possession, distribution, and cultivation of cannabis is still illegal under federal law and the laws of some states, and that is fucking ridiculous. The MK Potcast does not condone any illegal activity and encourages listeners to abide by all applicable laws. Thank you and have a blessed and lifted day. Peace.
What's this? Stop watching, find love. I don't know what that is, but I wonder if it 69mega.com. I don't know what it means, but yeah. So Ryan, you liked it, bud? It took a lot of work to figure out all the ins and outs to get different, but that was all AI to AI to AI to AI. The only thing I did was type words, right? So I typed some shit that I wanted, and then I put it in some AI, and then it made some art, and then I put it in some other AI, and then fucking manipulate that, and then take the words and put it in another AI to pull the sound, and then I put all that together in another AI to make it automated like that. So it was a fun little process, but I believe I've found a level masterclass, because all of that stuff was created with just time. How long did that take? That's all it took. It took $0 fiscal dollars. It's not the best Snoop avatar. I've got some better ones, but I don't want them that look like almost identical. It's terrifying how close. So I want to make sure that it does have some level of differences, and Snoop's not the only one. All right. So I'm doing some really, it's silly. So we're going to have some strain reviews from an amazing not celebrity. We're gonna have we're gonna have a bunch of fun stuff that it's ridiculous. It really is. I don't think people should. The capabilities of what's in our fingertips is wild. But how long did it take? Well, I had to learn the AIs. So if you include everything, but I built stuff along the way, so you got to also include like 7 books and a bunch of other things. Let's say 120 hours for everything, the knowledge absorption, the creation, and all that, and then learning the AIs, and then manipulating them and making them do what I wanted them to do, and then finding other AIs to fill in where it wasn't right. But we'd say all in all about 120 hours to do everything of 7 books, 300 pieces of art, and then quite a few AI videos and announcements, because I make audio announcements of our artificial assistant, hashtag not Snoop, to do announcements for other rooms and spaces and things like that, and just little fun spices to throw around and help elevate other people. They just love it. So we're starting the hashtag not Snoop campaign for initial beta test on a couple other not celebrities that are in the mix of things already. And yeah, you guys will get to hear all about that. As soon as I become a writer for the crypto magazine, which is in the mix right now, I'll let you guys know that too. So that's something I'm really excited on. The opportunity is being one of the writers for the crypto mag, the largest crypto magazine in the world, in 19 countries, and all kinds of crazy awesomeness. So I don't, fingers crossed. If they want it, they want it. If not, I think I'll get it, but we shall see. But yeah, so that's some of the updates going on. Hashtag not Snoop to be hanging out with us like wet clothes. And we're going to see what we can, what kind of attention we can draw. Can't wait to share the strain reviews, and it's hilarious. It's hilarious. I can't help but laugh. So throwing this video on again. I know I played it the other night when I was doing some testing and streaming it into some metaverses, but we're gonna have Cannabis versus Climate Change. It's like an hour and 9 minutes. So please feel free to sit, enjoy, watch at your own pace as well. We will be throwing it on here. I am playing it through StreamYard. We want to thank StreamYard here for making all of this possible. They are a sponsor of the Mo Cup and MK Potcast because they do understand and believe and support what we're doing. So thank you, StreamYard, for making this possible. I look forward to the few little updates that have been requested in, and you guys are on it and fix all these little glitches and nuances that are minor and are making huge changes for individuals like myself and other content creators. So thank you, StreamYard. Keep kicking ass. And we look forward to the further advancements in it. So there is that. And yeah, so Cannabis versus Climate Change, guys. Paul J von Hartmann, one of my idols of a level in the cannabis realm, a guru, a friend, a coach. It's just amazing. So some things are happening in the background that he may not even know about in some board meetings, and some regenerative finance aspect, all good things. We'll just say all good things for the plant, for the purpose, for what Paul's been fighting for his whole life. And I'm honored to be able to build bridges to allow those where those things they happen on it, and it's from hard work from those builders and everyone that's in there that's fighting for their state in one way or another. Your signatures do matter when it comes through legislation, and not any legislation's perfect, not at all. So assess of what you know in your state, what makes the best decision for you, and go vote one way or another. If cannabis is coming through, I believe should be voted on, but to each their own. Just invoke that power, people. It does make a difference. And yeah, let's learn a little bit about hemp, its capabilities, and we can learn that from the man himself, Paul J von Hartmann. Like I said, this is Cannabis versus Climate Change. You can go finish watching it on Vimeo if you're not able to finish it now when things come up. But by all means do. The information in it is priceless, and we are showing it again for a reason. So we will be showing it a few more times. I wouldn't be surprised at least once a month here, but within, we're hoping about 30 days, we will be fully transitioned into Abigail TV, which is the television network for the largest sports league of the nation, which is the American Basketball Association. So you've heard me mention and talk about them. It's because there's some major partnerships there, and mountains being moved for the capacity of cannabis being promoted in other places than social media. So we will have our own television channel on our own network of a cannabis base that's within the largest sports league of the nation of America. So sorry, Munchie, not your nation. It is probably the largest in there too, but I don't know how big your hockey is. It could be pretty big, eh? So I won't say things I don't know. I just know in the States, yeah, American Basketball Association, AbigailTV.com, ABAGALE. It's in the logos of a lot of the things that's on there. Yeah, check it out. It's pretty phenomenal. So you're in the States and you're wanting like your own real estate channel, the real estate channels are popping off right now. Hit me up. We can get you your own real estate channel in your state through the ABA basketball team that is there, because every state has at least one. So all that'll be introduced. It's like I said, you guys, it's getting crazy and beautiful and awesome. So we need to be educated along the way. Right now, this is going to be a cannabis base for a movie instead of the metaverse focus, and we'll be keeping most of that on the Twitter Spaces because it's where it's best received, and those that want it will go there to get it because the value in which anybody would, at least in the spaces of things that we're in, anybody could go in and gain value from damn near any one of the speakers and projects. So if it's not for business, it's for life, right? Because we focus on mental wellness and the real things of life outside of work and the money needed to sustain it. So with it, thank you again, guys, for joining. And here is Cannabis versus Climate Change. Wait, have I added it yet? No, I haven't added it yet. So I can't say here it is yet. I've got to remove this first and then present my screen. And now I can say here is Cannabis versus Climate Change. Paul J von Hartmann. And much love and enjoy.
This program is more than just a television show or a movie. It's an appeal to the court of public opinion to overrule a dysfunctional justice system. In the next few minutes, you'll learn about the true value of the cannabis plant and why it's so important that we reverse our opinion of it based on a need so great that everything that we cherish may be at stake. Sacrifices made by past generations, great sacrifices, need to be reclaimed so that our generation and future generations have the freedom to farm, which is critical to our sovereignty, to our health, and to the well-being of this planet. I hope you'll join with me in putting a stop to prohibition of cannabis and intensifying our cultivation of it with the intention of producing abundance of food and fuel and all of the things that we need in order to survive. And at the same time, healing the planet of global warming and intensifying UVB radiation, the global broiling.
As conditions of environment, economics, and global military conflict deteriorate, it becomes more important than ever for people to understand relationships between cannabis agriculture, energy production, food security, and developing sustainable economics as a means of achieving world peace.
We have what we need if we use it. But if we continue down the road of prohibition, our society will continue to degenerate. And balance with this planet, with the natural order that governs this planet truly, will never be achieved by our species. Cannabis is not optional, it's essential.
My name is Paul von Hartmann. I'm an international cannabis scholar and filmmaker. My particular focus is cannabis versus climate change. I'm about to finish a book and a digital video documentary by the same title. Cannabis versus climate change addresses the ecological significance of cannabis in reality. There's the political reality that we're being forced to endure, and there's the reality that is going to decide our sustainable existence and peace on Earth or our extinction, and a violent one at that. The good news is that it doesn't have to happen. We do have alternatives that aren't being responsibly addressed. What it comes down to is that cannabis is essential. It's not illegal. It's a polar shift in values that needs to happen based on the realization of the true value of cannabis. There are three things in particular that make cannabis both unique and essential. First of all, complete nutrition. Cannabis is the only common seed with 3 essential fatty acids in proper proportion for long-term consumption. It's the best available source of organic vegetable protein on Earth. And there are many components within the whole cannabis plant when eaten raw that affect our health in a beneficial way. The best medicine is the one that keeps you from getting sick in the first place. And drugs don't make seeds. Herbs make seeds. On the first page of the Bible, God was quoted twice as telling us we need the herbs. And there's no court on earth that has rightful jurisdiction over any herb-bearing seed. As soon as we concede that, then we give up rightful jurisdiction of every herb-bearing seed. And I'm not willing to do that. And future generations are going to wonder what the hell we were thinking, continuing to burn petrochemicals and coal when we know that increasing UVB radiation has more than doubled in the last 20 years, and it's increasing the solubility of mercury, arsenic, and selenium compounds out of solution in the environment, the air, the water, the soil. We don't know what level of genetic mutation UVB radiation is capable of in changing the viability of heirloom seeds. All of the indicator species are dying. The birds, the bees, the bats, the coral reefs, the phytoplankton. 40% of the phytoplankton are gone. 50% of the boreal forests that used to produce the atmospheric aerosols called monoterpenes that shield the planet from the sun are gone. They're not going to come back under the present conditions. If we don't grow cannabis as fast as we can in every soil and climate condition that it may be able to adapt and expand the arable base, sequester 12 tons of carbon per acre growing cannabis organically, 9 tons for the cannabis itself, 3 tons for the organic soil, then we are going to achieve extinction in this century. And it will be a violent extinction, and I refuse to allow future generations to suffer our inability to coordinate our thinking and to use the electronic communication abilities that we have for the first time in the history of our species to determine our social evolution. We have what we need. The ball is in our court. President Obama signed Executive Order 13603 on March 16, 2012 that identifies cannabis as a strategic food resource available by essential civilian demand. You can't have a strategic herb-bearing seed that's also a Schedule I drug. Drugs don't make seeds. Herbs make seeds. You can make a drug from an herb, but you can't make an herb from a drug. They're not the same thing. Drugs are dead. Seeds are life itself. We depend on them for our lives. And if we concede rightful jurisdiction, then our children and future generations will suffer for our spineless concession. I have a responsibility as a father, and I call to all fathers everywhere, to grow hemp, expand the arable base, throw up a monoterpene sunscreen against the UVB that's increasing the solubility of mercury. If you Google global broiling, it'll take you to my writing, because nobody else is writing about this. I hope you look for my book entitled Cannabis versus Climate Change. It summarizes an achievable strategy, an affordable strategy, a time-efficient strategy for affecting meaningful change. Because it's not about the legitimate debate anymore. The debate is over. Cannabis versus climate change is the final argument. If we don't fix climate change, it won't matter what we do fix. And it's happening right now. It's not just the ozone layer, it's the monoterpene concentrations. They reflect the solar UVB radiation away from the planet like little liquid crystals. They refract the sunlight, but they also nucleate persistent clouds that further protect the surface of the planet and create rain. It's actually a monoterpene enhanced rain because the nuclei of the water droplets in the rain bring the monoterpenes back to Earth. Well, the anti-carcinogenic, antifungal, antioxidizing, antiviral, antibiotic properties of monoterpenes are well documented. So we can logically assume that atmospheric monoterpenes also play a very, very significant role in the purification of the hydrologic cycle. And if we have half the monoterpenes in the atmosphere that we used to have, then we are exposed to at least twice the UVB radiation, actually more because of the depletion of the ozone layer. But it's a larger argument than anything else that's being talked about here. Because even if we figure out how to regulate and do all these things that people are talking about doing with cannabis, we're going to burden an industry that can save our lives. And why would we do that? Why would we regulate something or limit something that we really should just be planting as fast as we can and praying it's not too late? Cannabis is essential. It's not illegal. It can't possibly be illegal because it's too valuable. Essential means you need it. So if you need it, more of it is better than less of it. It's all very logical. It doesn't take a lot of attorneys. It doesn't take a court decision. We can look at the historical record. We can take a look at contemporary science, gold standard science that is being replicated all over the world, and we can come to a conclusion in record time. Because right now, the seeds from the feral hemp in the Midwest are ripening. And they're dropping onto the ground. And if we don't harvest those seeds, we're missing an enormous once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Because any plants that survived last year's drought in the Midwest to produce viable seeds this year have been hardened off to conditions that we can expect to get worse in the future. And those properties are valuable not only for national security in this country, but global integrity. And those characteristics need to be replicated. Those extremely valuable properties need to be recognized before they go to waste. And we don't have anything to plant in the spring. So the urgency of this is perhaps the most important message. It needs to happen sooner than anybody can possibly wrap their head around. This needs to happen yesterday. Everything we need to transcend prohibition. We don't need to end it or change it. We need to transcend it because it was never viable to begin with. And the fact that the environmental conditions and the social conditions and the economic conditions that we depend on for our existence are so deteriorating and so damaged that if we don't recognize what can help us, what can heal us, and initiate that healing process, then shame on us, because time is the only thing you can't make more of. Time is the limiting factor in the equation of survival. And I've talked face-to-face with the Secretary of Agriculture, Tom Vilsack. I've talked face-to-face with his Chief Advisor, Robert Bonney. I've communicated with everyone in the drug policy reform establishment, the oxymoron that is disempowering the grassroots and funneling off support to the endless conversation and the strategizing and the meetings at the Playboy Club, and the disingenuous dimensions of the contemporary cannabis culture. People need to snap out of it. We need to change this. We need to change it now. And to wait around for it to happen or to any further discussion is not necessary. It just isn't, and it's counterproductive, like prohibition itself. People call prohibition a failure. It's not a failure. It's counterproductive to its own stated objectives. Every problem that anybody's ever had with cannabis has happened in the context of a drug war. If Roger Christie can be in federal prison for 3 years, then anybody can be in federal prison for 3 years. Roger Christie is one of the most heartful, helpful, intelligent people on the planet. I've known him for 22 years. He and I planted cannabis publicly in 1992 under the banyan tree in Lahaina and demanded to be arrested. We formally challenged the state attorney general. I did the same thing a year later on the steps of the state capitol in Sacramento in 1993 with the Green Party. I planted cannabis publicly, challenging the rightful jurisdiction of any court over any herb-bearing seed, because our freedom to farm every herb-bearing seed is the first test of religious freedom. I'll say it again, our freedom to farm every herb-bearing seed is the first test of religious freedom. I'm not asking for permission. I'm exercising essential civilian demand according to Executive Order 13603 and 6 other presidential executive orders identifying cannabis as a strategic resource that's available by essential civilian demand. Thank you very much. I appreciate you listening to me.
But I need your help in exercising essential civilian demand for a strategic food resource, without which optimum health and world peace are just not possible.
This is December 31st, 1991, and we're just reflecting on the last day of perceived illegal status for the hemp plant. Tomorrow at high noon, we're going to be planting the first legal cannabis in the United States. We're doing it in order to save the earth, primarily, in order to make earth-compatible fuels, food, medicines, cloth, paper, building materials, 50,000 different products with which to show our respect for the natural order and assert our rights as individuals in a free country, in a free world, so that other people can take our example and embrace it as their own. People who now are afraid to do this because they think they don't have the power. We know that they do, because we know that we do, because we're rational, we're informed, and we care, not only about other people, but other creatures. In fact, the creature that gives us our life, the earth, of which we are a part. And yet, for some time now, we've played kind of a dark role, not taking responsibility for what we do, not taking responsibility for what we know as a society. And we're just going to change that tomorrow. It's very simple. It's the foundation of peace, and it's what everyone wants. So, with my friends and with people all over the world who know what needs to be done, we are stepping out in this crossroads of the world and making it right from a place of love and a place of truth and a place of peace.
Beautiful testimony. It's an absolute privilege and an honor to be on the front porch of this truly beautiful place at this the last day of the year, a beautiful celebration that we're joining in tomorrow for the beginning of a new year, the dawning of a new era, and that's the elimination of fear surrounding the use, cultivation, and the expectation, really, of the hemp plant as nature's finest plant gift to the human race. Tomorrow's the day at high noon. Paul called to the event, and I'm more than happy to share in it. And a phrase that a good friend of mine, Lawrence McKinney, uses often is a time to rise and stand for our beliefs and speak our truth in the light and let the consequences fall where they may. We think that we're empowered. We know that we're empowered as divine, spiritual, sovereign beings who have every right to have the best nutrition, the best medicines, the organic foods, and terrific building products, safe and sure medicine to heal people on the planet. At the time of healing. And what better way to start the new year out than to put a beautiful seed in the ground that can benefit the whole cycle of life. I want to thank Paul for the invitation. And it's truly God expressing itself at this time without fear and without arms, without firing a shot. Great masses, great numbers of people's lives can be changed for the better with no violence at all. That's a beautiful thing to be a part of. I'm stoked to be part of
People that have suffered, people that have sacrificed, people that have died for our freedom are with us today, wondering if the freedoms that they suffered for and died for are going to be preserved in this country. Because that's what they died for. That's what they suffered. And the children that haven't been born yet, and the dolphins that haven't been born yet, and the whales that are on their way to Hawaii right now to be born this winter, depend on us to make the right choice. And we've made it. And the seed that I planted will grow by God's grace. Some people say God doesn't make mistakes. And I believe that. And if you want to call that a religious belief, then you can add the atrocity of interfering with religious freedom to the list of crimes. The first legal hemp, the first legal cannabis is going to be planted underneath this tree today on behalf of those who cannot speak for themselves, on behalf of those who haven't been born yet, who are with us today, hoping that we do the right thing, hoping that people understand.
This was written just in the last few weeks. We just received it 2 days ago. It's a fax from Dr. R. Lee Hamilton, Roberta Hamilton, medical researcher and biochemist at UCLA, and William Eidelman, MD, also a medical researcher at UCLA. Quote, "It is no longer a matter of ignorance versus politics. There is no time left to argue. We have reached a turning point and we must intervene now if we are to have a world left to live in. The truth must be known. The insane prohibitions against the most valuable plant on earth, cannabis hemp, must yield to public demand, and hopefully very soon. The promise of super health and the possibility of feeding the world is at our fingertips. The applications for the wonder plant hemp are continually being discovered and rediscovered. Food, housing, fuel, clothing, paper, shoes, etc., to name just a few. Medical applications are well researched. Studies from Harvard and UCLA medical schools are specific and have positive findings using cannabis in medical intervention in many applications. Studies by Dr. Joanna Budwig, MD, nominated for the Nobel Prize every year since 1979, have shown unparalleled results in the use of essential fatty acids in the treatment of terminal cancer patients. What are essential fatty acids? The term essential is the tip-off. Truly, there can be no life anywhere without the essential oils, linoleic and linolenic acids. These essential oils support the immune system and guard against viral and other insults to the immune system. Studies are in progress using the essential oils to support the immune systems with victims of the HIV virus. So far, they have been extremely promising. What is the richest source of the essential oils? Yes, you guessed it, the seeds from the cannabis hemp plant. The seeds contain 25% LNA acid and 51% LA acid. What better proof of the life-giving values of the now illegal seed? Fortunately, when the creator made the hemp plant, there were no politicians and lobbies for multinational corporations around to advise, and no ignorant congressional committees setting an executive session to declare it illegal. What the world needs now is intelligent legalization of cannabis hemp, especially for medical intervention. Unquote. Top researchers at UCLA Medical.
We no longer recognize the laws that prohibit the cultivation of this plant because this plant is the most valuable resource on the planet. And there's no power on earth great enough, and there's no excuse good enough to keep our children from enjoying the benefits that this seed holds. This is for all of you.
All right.
Yay!
We have seeds available if anyone would like 8 seeds to plant. Oops, we having fun yet or what?
Next, I'd like to introduce a friend of mine who's a tireless hemp activist. He's been living on Maui for the last 4 years. I'm very happy and proud to have my friend Paul von Hartmann speak about the hemp and the environment. Paul. Suffice to say, there are so many issues right now that people are feeling somewhat overwhelmed at finding a solution to any of them, let alone all of them. Well, I believe that the qualities of the hemp plant for fuel, paper, food, medicine, and 50,000 other different products are capable of saving this planet if we act in time. Okay? Now, time is the limiting factor that will determine our survival on this earth and the survival of all other life on earth. We don't have as much time as we're being told because there are several time lags that people aren't thinking about when they're gauging whether or not we're going to make it. If we start to grow commercial grade hemp for fuel in Hawaii, as you can see, I'm standing here holding a stack of books, most of them produced by the University of Hawaii at Manoa Integrated Biofuels Research Program. These fuels that are talked about in these studies have been researched since the early 70s and were considered promising, in fact, economically viable at that time.
Et sur la Loire entre la grève, où l'on posse un beau flot d'argent, on y voit 2 bateaux de rêve, un Ligérien de la Montjonnaise.
feel like it should be.
The cannabis plant has never been and can never be objectively judged as truly illegal. It is simply too useful an agricultural resource.
We use the seeds for our tractor, which we run with hemp oil. It makes us quite independent on the oil lobby.
As conditions of environment, economics, and global military conflict deteriorate, it becomes more important than ever for people to understand relationships between cannabis agriculture, energy production, food security, and developing sustainable economics as a means of achieving world peace.
We are not depending on nobody.
The cannabis plant is part of a complex natural order which has evolved over millions of years. Mankind is far beyond its rightful authority in legislating scarcity of a unique and essential food resource, upon which other species also depend for their survival.
Instead of using any pesticides, even organic ones, you can put these baskets together using simple welded wire in the windows. Because of prohibition, the medicine that I prefer to use, which is cannabis, is so expensive that on disability, nobody can afford it. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it so that you'll go to the doctor and you'll go on Medi-Cal and you'll take their pills and stay in front of a TV and be happy and give them no problems, as opposed to get out there and get in their face and tell them that cannabis is what you prefer to use, and under the Constitution, I should be able to use it because it's what allows me to have a full life. The pills that they want me to use and the pharmaceutical companies that they're behooving to because of contributions to their political life is not functional. Like Demerol, Oxycontin. People are dying behind this stuff. Yeah, it kills the pain, but you can't function. You can't even tell if you took a pill an hour ago, so you took another one and you die. Is that a better medicine? Not for me. There's not one shoe fits everybody. Okay? I know what works for me. Every patient that I have found, every person in a wheelchair that I have known benefits from cannabis. I'm not saying there aren't some out there that it doesn't benefit. I'm just saying that everybody that I've met to date has found a benefit from cannabis as opposed to the heavy narcotics that they would normally use. They're able to taper off their narcotic use and experience a fuller life because of the cannabis. And so I recommend that people try it and judge for themselves. Well, for me, I don't believe in organized religion. I talk to the Lord myself when I need things.
Mm-hmm.
And so that for me, it brings me closer to God or Jesus, which was how I was raised. I don't think that the name really matters, whether you believe in, Allah, or whether you believe in Jesus Christ, or you believe in, the Hindu goddess, or you're a druid. It enables you to release the emotional problems of your mind and brings you closer to your spirituality, whatever that may be. Because we're polluting the oceans to such an extent that the omega-3s that you get in fish are accompanied by so much mercury that you can't ingest enough fish. You're in this balance where you don't have that with the hemp seed. We need those omega-3s, and we don't need the mercury. And we've polluted the planet to such an extent that fish is just loaded with mercury. Pregnant women aren't even supposed to eat it anymore. So where are they going to get their omega-3s? It's going to reduce our carbon footprint, because when anything is raised, okay, you burn this tree up here, the carbon goes into the atmosphere, okay? You make plywood out of it, it's going to tie up that carbon for 100 years. It is known that you can make superior plywood and building materials all from hemp, from insulation to plywood to the resin that holds the plywood together. It's all there in the plant and will last 100 years, and it reduces our carbon imprint. You grow a field of it, you harvest it, the seed and the oils go for food production, and the fiber goes to insulation, building materials, plywood. Because that product lasts so much longer before it's burned or thrown away or left to rot, it's going to tie up that carbon for just that much longer, and we need to keep the carbon tied up. We don't need to burn it. They're burning rice straw because they can't even give it away down here in the valley. If you made bales out of hemp straw and did the straw bale construction, those buildings would last for hundreds of years, and that carbon would be tied up. And you'd have an R value of 1,000. The heat's not going to penetrate that wall because it's 2 foot thick. And it's naturally resistant to insects. Move it all up. I'm Marshall, and I'm a cannabis farmer because it benefits my life and brings me closer to my Lord. 420 is also my birthday. I was born April 20th, 1954.
Cannabis is, in fact, a unique drug. Pharmacologically, it's, besides alcohol, the only product that is soluble in alcohols and fats, but not water. And it goes through a totally different chain within the body, being picked up by the fatty portions of the blood, the phospholipids, and transferred to the nervous system as well as other tissues that have sensitivity to these materials. The chemical structure of tetrahydrocannabinol and other cannabinoids resembles precursors to the prostaglandins, a system that expresses the activity of the immune system throughout the body. This unique level of action that goes both simultaneously to the central nervous system above the hypothalamus, down the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, as well as to these peripheral sites, have cannabis as a unique medication, because all the others are water soluble and have a much higher toxicity ratio as compared with the cannabinoids, which are so non-toxic that it's hard to measure. But cannabis, on the other hand, does not have these kinds of adverse effects at all. One of the things in managing chronic conditions is the absence of side effects as being the critical factor. And cannabis has a remarkable profile compared with any of the others, the opiates and the benzos and other non-specific sedatives. In fact, it really enhances both quality of life and rehabilitation, since cannabis both modulates and activates certain kinds of very positive healing functions in the body. Number one, the normalization of gastrointestinal functioning, the promotion of peristalsis. Instead of slowing it up as the opiates do, or paralyzing it in some ways, that cannabis facilitates it, facilitates evacuation as well as the regularization of functioning of the small intestines and the stomach. No other medication can make that claim. The other thing is the increased mobility and motility of people, of the chronically ill. With both the opiates and the benzos, the sedatives, it really discourages mobility and actually enables and facilitates disability by causing depression and slowing down of both motor function and gastrointestinal function, as compared with cannabis, which lifts spirits, if anything, and will improve mobility and motility.
So the father was a single parent with this child, and he just really loved this child. And he decided to look at cannabis. And, you know, federal patent says it's useful for epilepsy. It's, you know, it's in all the literature. And so he said, well, we'll see what this does. He went to a 2-to-1, twice as much CBD as THC with no benefit. Experimented, went to a 3-to-1, had a little tiny bit of benefit. Finally found a 12-to-1. I was able to reduce, so 12 times as much CBD as THC in the strain. Was able to reduce the seizures to 1 seizure every 3 to 4 days. During that period previously, he would have had 1,200 to 1,600 seizures during that 4-day period. And interestingly, I presented that paper to Icarus, which is meeting in a week and a half from now, and I was denied the right to put this poster up on a poster board because it was anecdotal. I said, well, you should meet this father because he'll explain what anecdotal is. But you know, anecdotal evidence based on observation is the basis of all science, the basis of all epigenetic knowledge inheritance. You make an observation, and then you test that observation. And if the observation that I made was, here's a child who was on a toxic substance that had been approved by the Food and Drug Administration after all of these trials and clinical trials and peer-reviewed journals and, you know, all of this excellent scientific, statistically valid research, but it failed. You know, that's the observation. That's the observation that these 2 experimental anti-epileptics failed. The Topamax failed, the Dilantin failed, that all of it failed horribly, miserably. And here's a child who takes a non-toxic substance that probably the biggest problem is you can grow it in your backyard and suddenly is feeling better. And I really believe that if we had cannabis in our diet, you probably would contain these symptoms before they became a problem, because a lot of them, some of them appear to stem from a febrile situation where you suddenly go into a seizure mode. Dravet actually is a genetic disorder of the sodium channel, so that the nervous tissue is very irritable to lead to that type of seizure activity, which reinforced previous knowledge that I had that the cannabinoids not only act at the cannabinoid receptors, but they act at channels such as the sodium channel, calcium channel, potassium channel. The cannabinoids also act at enzymes. And it's hard really to quite imagine the scope of the interface between these regulatory molecules and cell physiology, which is part of why I felt that cannabis really was a dietary essential. And so, from my perspective, there are two types of uses of cannabinoids. The raw plant, after 34 million years of evolution, provided us with acids. THC acid, CBD acid, cannabichromic acid,
Hey y'all, happy
cannabigyrolic acid.
420. It is your favorite artificial assistant here. Hashtag not Snoop. Thank you for joining us in another MK Potcast. Hey y'all, happy 420. It is your favorite artificial assistant here. Hashtag not Snoop. Thank you for joining us in another MK Potcast with your hosts, Queen Carr and Michael Kamp. I want to personally thank you for being here. We know you could be anywhere else, but you are here. Now that's love. I hope you have some of that sticky icky ooey, because it is time again to light up that doobie, rip that bond, or take a dab be-do. Remember that we grow stronger together and that we love to smoke weed every day. Much love, and this public 420 announcement was brought to you by Honeycomb Hydro. Please be advised that the content of the MK Potcast is intended for adults over the age of 21 and is for informational and educational purposes only. The information provided on this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. The opinions and statements expressed on this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of the producers or affiliates of the MK Potcast. The use, possession, distribution, and cultivation of cannabis is still illegal under federal law and the laws of some states, and that is fucking ridiculous. The MK Potcast does not condone any illegal activity and encourages listeners to abide by all applicable laws. Thank you and have a blessed and lifted day. Peace. Hey y'all, happy 420. It is your favorite artificial assistant here. Hashtag not Snoop. Thank you for joining us in another MK Potcast with your hosts, Queen Carr and Michael Kamp. I want to personally thank you for being here. We know you could be anywhere else, but you are here. Now that's love. I hope you have some of that sticky icky ooey, because it is time again to light up that doobie, rip that bond, or take a dab be-do. Remember that we grow stronger together and that we love to smoke weed every day. Much love, and this public 420 announcement was brought to you by Honeycomb Hydro. Please be
They all fight. Let's go. What the beast of the earth. They are fighting. While the beasts of the earth still feed off the. Let me show you something. We can get burly remarks and dodge. You can't stay the king of the parking lot. I don't stay scared if you bark a lot. Spend too much time around parks and shots at the park in the dark with the heads hang low. When the primo smoke to wash out your clothes and the weed don't smoke. Does fail your test violation, probation. The case can't rest. Violation of the nation face down in this mess. Corporation motivation with the police confess. Manufacturing the product of criminals. They don't try to hide it subliminal. The products in the pocket, the prison holes, and we are the product. They sell back our souls. We earn the profits and hell as it goes. We are a populace who fell to the ghosts of the profits. Profits in prison of lodge. War on drugs is driving the stock. Said the war on drugs. This was driving the stock.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
The beast of the earth still feed on the poor.
Talking in anguish, freedom and peach, man of the land, and the anguish he speaks. TV potholes, deep like Atlantis, free from the land with plans of expansion. My angle's the dankest, jammed with the rap kids, pain in the mansions, smooth in the blocks, strudels a pop, move it you lost, tough sounds,
let's go.
And down.
Let me show you something.
Don't leave me.
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 The earth still feed on the poor. Some teachers are preachers and keepers of love, while the beasts of the earth still feed off the blood. Some teachers are preachers and keepers of love, while the beasts of the earth still trample the blood. In prison projects, till prison pockets, to the prison projects, the prison pockets, the light and the might, bring a sight to the blind, spit love in the mud, clean your eyes to the shrine. Power to the people, screaming fuck all the lies, cause the prison to the sequel is a fucking hate crime. Sisters of the earth band together to the lies, and the truth sets us free, you're at cleanse of their eyes, bring wars and greedy men, fight wars for greedy men, divorce to bleeding men, the war abusing men, important preaching sin, religion buried in, the blood is deep in, the love is creeping in. Divorce and the force is the course that we're married in, choose to refuse, see the tombs of the buried men, views they confuse while they choose what they carry and proves that the truth is the news is shit will.